Let's bring in former New York Congressman Peter King, as well as David Carlucci, former New York State Senator, Democrat. Thank you both for being here. Let's start off, gentlemen, by getting your reaction to that speech. Peter, we'll start with you.
Yeah, to me, it was not at all reassuring. He reaffirmed the fact that he's going to be a democratic socialist. He dwelled on the issue of class warfare, when the fact is, I'm not in the top 1 or 2%, but they're the ones that pay almost half the revenues in New York. And that's what keeps the jobs here, provides the jobs. Also, he spoke about the plight of the Palestinians in Bay Ridge, not a word about anti-Semitism. And there's no discomfort for Palestinians at all. The ones who have been harassed over the last year have been Jews. He said nothing about retracting his dislike, almost hatred of the police. But to me, I saw nothing in there that was encouraging. He's very smart. He's very articulate. I give him credit for that. I also think he's very honest. I think he believes what he's saying. And to me, that's what makes it scary.
David, what's your response?
Look, I think this is about inspiration. It's about exciting a whole new generation of New Yorkers and beyond across the country. We've seen more people interested in running for office, getting involved in actually fixing the problems that plague our city and our nation. And so I think that is very hopeful. The fact that he says he wants to emulate Bernie Sanders, that is a concern of mine. Look, Bernie Sanders, AOC, look, they're astute politicians, but they're in the legislature. When it comes to being mayor or an executive, that's a whole different story. That's where you have to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. You got to crack some eggs if you want to make an omelet. And so that's my biggest fear. Bernie Sanders, I mean, the guy is great at slogans, but he hasn't really accomplished much. The mayor of New York is often a place where political careers go to die. And that's for good reason, because these are tough problems and New York has to tackle these problems. That's why a lot of criticisms get labeled or leveled at New York City, but they're the ones stepping up, investing in how do we solve these problems so not only the city, but the state and the nation can benefit from it.
And Peter, and to David's point on that, the reality is that he's really reaffirmed and doubled down on the fact here that they believe that the democratic socialism is the wave of the left, the new Democratic Party. I mean, you have Bernie Sanders there, the senator who was really the guiding light and inspiration for Zohran Mamdani. You have AOC as well. They're not shying away from that. Do you think that he will be the new voice and face of the Democratic Party? And it seems like both Sanders and AOC are leaning into that.
Well, from a partisan Republican view, I hope he is. But having said that, I don't think that's good for the city. Also, the fact that he cited David Dinkins and Bill de Blasio as his model mayors. Now, listen, I got along personally with both of them, but I thought they were failures as mayor. And he passed over the Giuliani Bloomberg. Whether you like them or not, we had 20 years where crime went down, jobs increased, education improved, and you can disagree with aspects of what they did, but to somehow to skip over them and go to de Blasio and Dinkins and then talk about Bernie Sanders and AOC. Because I served with both of them in Congress. I have no personal problems with either one of them, but they are socialists. They are out there and really have achieved very little. I don't think Bernie's ever gotten a major bill through in the House or the Senate. So I have nothing against Mamdani personally, but after listening today, I just think this is the wrong path for New York to be going down. It's going to scare away business and also create this whole image that everyone has been discriminated against over the years. People have been put down. All of us come from immigrants. My grandparents are immigrants. I grew up in an immigrant neighborhood. I was born in Manhattan, raised in Queens, went to high school, college in Brooklyn. And so many people were able to work themselves up. In fact, the great majority were. Yes, there were individual cases of discrimination, but to somehow say that that's what personifies New York, no. New York is a city of hope. It always has been. And I think rather than saying he's coming in to make improvements, he's putting a cloud and shadow over all of New York. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do.
David, I promise you more time. We unfortunately, just given how long that speech was, we have to move on. But former New York Congressman Peter King and David Carlucci, thank you so much for being here today and reacting to that speech in real time. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.